Hello.
Good morning. Good evening for you. Good morning for me. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Good.
doing. I'm doing very well. It is a good time.
Fantastic. Beg your pardon?
It is a good time.
Yes, no, I'm organized. I'm sitting here waiting for you to call.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Anyway.
So good evening, Lisa. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. My name is Claudio, and I live here in the United States.
Yes, whereabouts in the United States?
Close to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I live in Virginia, and about 15 minutes from Washington. I know you're going to be touring next year with the Condensed here as well. And
Yes.
so I'm going to be seeing you actually next year. I'm seeing you 4 times.
Oh, wow, that's lovely.
Yeah, so you open the third part of the tour in Vancouver. So I'm going to be flying to Vancouver, and then the day after you play in Seattle. And then
Yeah.
toward the end of the tour, you do Washington, and then you do Philadelphia. So I'm going to be in those 4 shows. So
Oh, that's so nice.
yeah, I love your music. So and actually, I'm from a country that they love your music. So I'm from Chile.
Oh, wow.
So people love your stuff from there. Yeah, I was born there in Chile, and I had the opportunity to come to the United States to study, and
Yes.
and I ended up staying after that. So
Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, I love Chile.
yeah, it's very very nice. And I was thinking that well, after so toward the end of the tour with the Condensed, you go in. Let's say you play Mexico City and then Guadalajara. I wonder
Yeah.
is there a possibility to go to Latin America after that?
Not at this stage, no, because these things take, at least 12 months to 2 years to sort of figure out the schedules and
Yeah,
with promoters. And everyone's been so nervous to book concerts after COVID.
sure.
So it's been really tricky. But we'll definitely be coming to this part of the world.
Yeah,
It's just that things need to settle down and people need to sort of be a little less nervous because everyone's terrified. And a lot of people of course, as you know, in the promotion of the music, etc., they all collapsed during COVID. So, and they lost all of their means to promote these kind of projects. So now it's rebuilding again. But it's going to take some time.
I got you. Yeah, you guys are very very famous in Latin America. So I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but
And we
hopefully,
love coming there. We absolutely love coming there. We've always had fantastic experiences there.
yeah,
It's always amazing. Like, if you go there, it has to be the end of the concerts, because if you go there and then you go back to Europe, it's so deflating when you go back to Europe, because everybody's so crazy and so beautiful
yeah,
in Latin America. The reception is always so loving, and
yeah.
so it has to be at the end, I think, of the concert tour, so that you don't come back, and I won't mention any countries in
Of course.
particular, but go back and play in some countries in Europe where everyone is very refined and they don't express them. Sometimes you need that energy, from
Absolutely.
the audience.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
in I think in Argentina and Chile they're very euphoric. They are very emotional, so they really applaud.
They're so
you know,
beautiful.
they
It's
go-
so lovely to play in these
Absolutely.
areas.
Absolutely.
That's really wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about Exaudia. I want to tell you that I listened to that collaboration with Marcello, and actually I had the opportunity to talk to Marcello as well. I own some radios here, online radio station, and a couple of YouTube program, and Marcello is a very nice person as well. And
It's so important that you speak to him about this project, because he's
Yeah.
done so much work.
yeah, yeah.
And have you seen the videos? Have you seen any of the videos?
Of course, we'll talk all about it in a couple of minutes. So, and yeah, so I already interviewed him for his soundtrack work, and of course, we talk a little bit about Exaudia, and simply put, Exaudia, I tell you that is a masterpiece, Lisa. It's a masterpiece.
It's really beautiful, isn't it? I love it too.
It's a
So
beautiful,
pleased.
yeah. It's so so well put together with the engineering, the mastering, your voice, of course, and it's unbelievable. I have listened to the whole album, I don't know, 6, 7 times. So
I love it. I love the album. I think it's beautiful, and he's done the most amazing job.
Yeah.
Also, his production skills. Everything sounds so beautiful, and he has a wonderful sense of structure, and he's very, and he's very passionate. Because he's Sicilian Argentinian. His parents once.
That's right,
so just one moment, please. Oh, it's all right. It's my mother trying to ring. She'll try and ring 500 times.
Yeah.
So I should try and say to her, can you hold on? But I know if I do that, I'll cut you off.
Yeah.
So I have to leave her. So just don't worry if you can hear things ringing in the background.
Okay.
But, the thing is that, because he's Sicilian Argentinian, that his parents are. So even though he's based in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So he's very passionate, and it shines in the music. You can hear this in his music. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Plus, Marcello.
I love working with him. I mean, we do have our difficulties. We have moments where it gets a little bit feisty, but, not in this album. This album, I think, is the easiest project I've ever done with him. Yeah. We just flowed. It was really special, this work. It just flowed.
Absolutely.
It was really.
And you guys collaborated remotely, right? Because I think it was during the holiday.
Well, we had to, because Australia was in lockdown for nearly 1 year on and off,
Sure.
So it was crazy. I mean, we couldn't go anywhere. I had to cancel so many concerts, tours with Hans Zimmer, with Brendan, with Dead Can Dance. All these concerts had to be cancelled. Because of COVID. So, sure. And I was at home, and Machi rang me and said, do you want to do some work? And I said, yeah, sure. And so we started to, it was sketches, and, he said to me, can you sing like 4 or 5 passes at this thing? And then I sent it back, and he was so wonderful to work with on this project. Maybe that's all it takes, when you work with another composer. Just don't be in the same room with them. And it's all going to be fine.
Yeah. I know.
Maybe that's the solution, to all of these difficulties that we have,
Yeah.
But no, it's been a really amazing, and I'm so blown away by what he's done with the videos. I can't believe it. Oh. It's such a hidden talent that he has.
Oh, it's amazing.
Extraordinary.
It's amazing.
Really beautiful. I mean, I don't know. Have you seen the one that's called When the Light of the Morning Comes?
Of course. Yep.
Oh, I can't believe, it's just, there's so many layers and subtext.
Absolutely, right. I get very emotional with those videos, because the independent of the music and your voice and so on, so forth, that people love, the images are in the video, right? Those are so powerful.
Images, that girl in that red cape, and when that comes in, and then you've got this tower, and it's like the horror of Papal Rome or something, like the Roman churches or something. And then you've got the, this beautiful, this ballet shoe, turning, and it's absolutely exquisite. I think this is a real thing for him. He's really unlocked, because that he's an absolutely brilliant painter.
Yeah.
He paints these extraordinary, and they're not like modern paintings. They're like small Leonardo da Vinci's. I mean, they're extraordinary, the amount of detail, and he really has this extraordinary visual artistic side, and it's come through in these videos. I can't believe it. I said to him, this is something you should be doing all the time. He said, I don't know if I could do it to someone else's music. I said, of course you can. You've got this, you're an artistic soul. You can do anything with art.
Yeah.
There's no restrictions. All it takes is for you to fall in love with something, and there's your palette.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm really thrilled. I really love the work, and I'm hoping that we can do some concerts. It won't be, of course, this year, because we have concerts already, too many of them, but it could be. Might be able to put something together, but I really want this to be different and unique, and it doesn't have to be lots of concerts. We can just do some cameo things, but try and sort of look around I mean, we could even look around in South America and say, well, guys, is there a university where you guys have, classical kids doing education with classical instruments, and we can come there and do this with you, one-offs here and there, sort of thing, that it's not about the money, it's about creating great art. And, we want to do this, It's nice to get a bit of money, but, just doesn't seem to come our way. I don't know what it is. There's, you get these artists on the planet and they get so much money. And I don't know what it is about us. We just seem to always be struggling in some way, but that's the way it is.
We take condensed you guys at the beginning, Breakeven. I mean, you were not making, you were traveling.
We were 9 years. We were starving. I'm not joking. And when people say to me, well, how do you break into this industry? I said, but you have to. Well, all what we did was starve for 9 years. So I don't want to advise you to do this, because it was really hard. But we never expected to make any money. We just sort of didn't expect it. It wasn't really. And I know that doesn't sound truthful, but I swear it on my soul, it was true. We really were shocked when we actually started making some money from the ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove and from Yulunga, and we started making some money, and we're like, we were shocked. It was amazing, but it can happen. I mean, and that was because of college radio, because of America, that they were playing the things, and also the Mark Magidson, the Baraka movie, because he gave us some footage to do with Yulunga, and it ended up on National Geographic, being played on the National Geographic channel sort of 5 times a day for 12 months. So that broke us into a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, I know that group, Jack and Dance, they're the ones that did this thing. And so it opened up the pathway then in a more material sense for us, which we'd never had before.
Yep.
We'd really done it hard. And I often say to Brendan now, when I look back and think of how hard it was in the beginning, but we didn't even notice it. It was just, we had our music, and I think that's why Brendan and I have actually had the success that we've had, because we were just so in love with what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were totally in love with what we were doing, and even though there were great demonstrations of passion and some fights and arguments, it was always about wanting to make things better. It was never because we had problems between us. It was that we always wanted to take the work to a higher level so that other people could come and take refuge in this wonderful sanctum that we were making. We really believed in it.
Absolutely.
To be a place that existed outside of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And I think we still do. I think that's why we do this, because there has to be somewhere to go that isn't Kmart or Kohl's or what do you have in America, Walmart, There's got to be somewhere else to go. And it has to be something that unlocks the imagination and unlocks your sensibility and shows you of your potential as a human being, that it's not just about greed and money and wars and fighting, that your potential as a human being is as fragile and as exquisite as that ballerina spinning around and with the light coming over her shoulder. I mean, why can't we just be inspired?
Absolutely.
If we're just allowed to be inspired, all these other ridiculous, these greed and this domination and all that, it all disappears. If we can just be excited and inspired and enjoy the dance of life and all of its lights and delicate, fragile properties, as opposed that are exciting and that take you away from your vanity and all of these insecurities that we possess,
Absolutely.
That if we can do this, then we're actually exercising a muscle, an invisible muscle that's very good for the soul.
Yeah.
And it gives us a sense of joy and purpose, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Sometimes I think people want things to be complicated and difficult. They prefer it, but when they realize that, do you know what? I can sit down and close my eyes and drift into this piece of music, and it allows me to come into contact with everything that matters to me in the most gentle and loving way. That I don't have to sit in front of some horrible therapist or sit, where I'm telling them how I feel. I can actually sift through the feathers of my existence and straighten them out very gently without any conflict or any confusion, and just gently take my time and just sort out and brush out the feathers of my own existence so that I can continue and become healthier as a human being. I can forget about all my financial problems. I can forget about, and just have that tiny refuge that you can go through. Where you come, when you're there, you look around and it's like, from there, none of the other things matter.
Of course not. Yeah, I completely agree. In a way, you know, simple put, your album encapsulates in many ways a message of hope. You know, and I tell you, it had an emotional impact on me. You know,
no, totally. And I think that was the motivating factor, especially during COVID, that we just all felt so isolated and sad, you know, and that's the thing with, you know, when you're doing this work as an artist, you reach for the counterpoint of what is in front of you. You know, if it's a really dark time, you'll make something positive. If it's a really positive time, then you counterbalance that with making something deeper and more somber, you know. It just seems to work like that inside the artistic. There's a desire to bring a balance.
Absolutely.
Between those two things. It can't be all or nothing. It's got to be, you know, we have to be allowed to explore both, you know, in order to maintain some kind of sanity.
I think that every psychologist in the world should be using your music in the background, because only your voice can take people, you know, beyond space and time. I think
you're so funny. You know, you remind me of this. I remember I had a friend that had a restaurant, and he said to me, do you know, when I want people to leave, when they're staying too long, I just put on your album. And it's amazing is that they're gone within 10 to 15 minutes. It's like
no, it's very.
I said, do you mind not sharing those kind of compliments with me? He said, no, it's great. It's really great, you know.
Yeah. No. No, because it's, at least for me, music, Lisa, I've been listening to music, I don't know, 3 hours a day from the last 50 years, okay? And music is magic for me. It takes me places, you know. I put my headphone and Exaudia, you know, and now, and it takes me places. I don't know what music does to, at least to people.
It takes you places. That's a really good way to put this album too, is that it takes you places. It's brave, it's bold.
Absolutely.
It takes you from the most delicate emotional tissue to this huge kind of tip of the iceberg, where you know there's this massive iceberg underneath the ocean, and you know, all these other life forms. It's really, I love this album. I really mean that. I really, really love this album. I'm so excited about it.
When I told you,
I mean, you have a love for every album, but I think this is the easiest album I've ever made, because Marcello did so much work, and I'm privileged to be a part of it, really, because he worked like an animal. I mean, honestly, he worked so hard, and he's sending back these people. I'm thinking, each time they're getting better and better and better, and he's wonderful. He really is. He's so crazy and so sweet. He really is.
Absolutely.
He's as mad as a March hare, but very, very sweet.
No, absolutely. You sing in general in a very interesting way. In many cases, as if you use your own language, your own vocabulary. Where does that come from?
Belong to me. Huh? The language sort of comes from the music itself. I remember the neurologist said to me once, I can't understand, you have these different languages and they sound, and each time you sing that piece of music, it's the same language for that piece of music. And I said, I know, it's really weird. I can listen to stuff that I did when I was 19 and I know what the words are.
Yeah.
Even though they're different, it's so deeply entrenched. But I've tried to describe this to people as the fact that what happens with the singing is I sing in the language that we were born with, not the one that we were taught to speak in. And that's where we start to speak in systems and, you know, so that we can communicate together. I communicate perfectly with the language that I was born to speak in, which was the one before the systemized language. And that's why other people can respond to this, because they also have this language. It's not a language to be understood intellectually. It's a language to be felt and experienced, that is part of the frequency and the resonance that exists between us and as humans with sounds. And we're being denied this because it's not practical and can't be controlled. So, you know, the thing is, when I find that if I do classes with people, when I'm working with people that want to sing, and most of the people say, well, look, I would love to be able to sing like you or whatever. And I said, well, you don't want to sing like me. You want to sing like you. So why don't we get together and start to unlock this voice of yours? And oh, no, I can't sing. I could never, ever sing. Oh, no, I sing. I sound terrible when I sing. I said, well, okay, well, let's get together. And, you know, and then they're like, oh, no, not me, and not me. I don't think I can't do. And then you get them, okay, sing one sound, sing one note, just let them sound come out. And then the next note, and the note, and do this, and let this note, and louder, and turn it, and twirl it, and make it soft, and just play with this note, and then go to the next note. Do you know, within half an hour, you can't shut these people up. I'm telling you. Yeah. And it's like, can we just let Jim have a turn? You know, can we just let Sue have a go? You know, and it's like, no, hang on. I think I've got something. You know, it's so sweet.
Do you think
it's so sweet? But we all have it. And we just, once we realize that we are not restricted by practical intellectual language, we are all composers and musicians, and we all have a natural instrument. It's just that we're told that we don't, and it all has to be terribly perfect and everything. You know, it's like when people say to you, oh, how do you write scores for movies? You start with one note or one chord or a couple of chords. You don't start with a symphony. You know, you just take your time and enjoy the process. You know, the one thing that I know when I'm working with little groups of singers or whatever, I love those moments where everyone bursts out laughing. That's so healing. You know, where we're doing something and somebody will make a sound or something and it would just be awful. The sound would just be horrible and everyone will laugh, but it's in the most beautiful way.
Sure.
And then that person will find this, and when that person finds this, everyone, and then when you get past that area, then you can get them singing together, and that's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really interesting.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic, you know. I mean, I've often said in the later part of my life, when I'm sort of 80 or whatever, that's what I'll concentrate on doing. I'll concentrate on getting people's voices active. You know, because at the moment I have to earn money to live, you know, I can't, but, you know, when I'm on a pension, I can do this work. When I retire, I'll be able to do all that.
You will never retire, Lisa. People will always call you back for projects and this and that. And
I can't believe I'm still going, you know, I look at myself and I just think, you look awful, you're old, and you're still doing it. And I just think, you know what, I can't worry about those kind of things. The thing is that if you can do this, you've got to keep doing it. It's so important to keep it going, because there's an old saying: if you don't use it, you lose it. And I'm at a point in my life where I don't have the restrictions that I had when I was younger, where I was like, oh, I will never do this. Oh, no, that note there, no, never, you know, kind of thing. I don't have that anymore, and it's all become very silky and the river of execution of expression is much more automatic and uncomplicated. You know, that's a much more open, you know, and much more energized in a lot of ways. There's I mean, I'm doing the pieces now with the Dead Can Dance concerts that I would never have done those pieces in one concert. I would have thought I'm going to ruin my voice if I do all these different styles and dynamics and all these things. But it's not like this because I don't fear it anymore. I don't have fear. And I think that's the thing when you're young, that we really have to encourage and help younger people is not to have fear, because fear is the enemy of love. You know, it really, and as an artist, if you have fear, then that's a blockage. You've just got to say, do you know what? I am not going to be the person that I was yesterday that had fear. I'm going to be the person that I am today that doesn't have any fear.
Sure.
And just move yourself away from that person in fear, because that fear will stop you from expressing yourself.
Absolutely.
And life's too short.
No, I
you know.
completely with you.
You know, and systems and the world, the politics and bills and all this pressure, you know, that's all there to stop this beautiful human being becoming a chrysalis, you know, the metamorphosis of, you know, growing beautiful wings like a butterfly. It's all there to crush, you know, and we don't have to put up with that, because what we are doing with our artistic expression is free and away from all of it. It can't be controlled.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and that's what I loved about this particular project, is it really wakes up, for me, it really wakes up the fact that there's so much, especially listening to Marcello's music in this, it's so passionate and so bold. It's so brave. You know, there's no holding back. It's just go for it. No. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's just beautiful.
The album, in many ways, when I listened the second time, and it's very melancholic. And how do you?
There's a lot of deep feelings in there.
I want to ask you like a sort of personal question. How do you balance that with your own reality? I mean, Lisa, the one that I'm talking to you now, versus Lisa, the performer. Do you, when you sing it, for example, with the Decadence, you open with Yolonga, and then you go to Amnesia, Mesmerism. It brings a lot of emotion to people. How you manage that, Lisa? I mean, your own personal life.
Because it's already there inside the music. I know what you're saying, and it's a roller coaster. It's definitely an emotional roller coaster. But thankfully, within each and every one of those pieces of music, I feel very, very secure.
Really?
Yes, very secure, because I understand what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I need to express. And that gives me great security and great confidence. If I didn't know what I was doing, it would be a disaster. But I understand those pieces, you know. I've spent a lot of time with them, you know. So, and I know what I want to express, you know. And as long as that's really how it is. I mean, it really is. When you're doing this work, you don't want to give people a sense of insecurity. You want to give people a sense of pride, of passion and courage, and because that's what they're going to walk away with. They're going to walk away feeling stronger, you know, and that's the thing. And I mean, ultimately, I'm going to get to the point where I won't be able to do those pieces. Well, no, I don't know that, because, you know, when I was younger, I could never have done the pieces in one concert that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I would have been afraid that I'm going to hurt my voice, or maybe I don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore. So all that fear's gone, because I think, well, look, you know, just do it, because this could be the last concert tour you do. You know, no, it's like this dinner you're eating could be you know, I don't want to go on a diet, because this could be my last meal and I'm going to miss out. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly right.
Just eat it and enjoy it. Yeah. You know?
Well, you need
now, darling, I'm going to have to leave you, because I've run out of time now. I had half an hour with you, and I've got another call.
I got you.
So is there something that you want to ask me?
Well, I think we covered a lot of the other thing that I want to mention. I have to question is I'm going to be flying to Portugal as well to see the concert with Jules, which I interviewed already in November, and I would love to take the two of you to dinner. I already talked to Jules.
Well, you come and see us, and maybe we'll take you to dinner, and it'll probably be backstage somewhere.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm flying with my son, so I will. So I love your music, Lisa. You guys doing a good job.
But make sure that we know you're there, so we can catch up with you. All right?
Right. It was very nice talking to you, Lisa, and good luck to you, and I will see you very soon.
Thank you, darling. Bye now. Bye-bye.